guys, we back with one of the greatest discoveries, and that's the discovery of true salvation. We have hopefully heard this term, salvation. We should be familiar with the term salvation. Salvation is a term that we need to understand in order to save yourself. Now, salvation is a lie. Salvation is not a truth. Salvation has one intent, and a cruel intent for that matter. And this intent we're going to discover together in a public forum, so we can all be publicly aware of the canonized definition of salvation. So those who call on names for salvation or names of salvation, you need to listen up carefully. This is Article 108. Article 108, salvation. Canon 4181. Salvation. As you heard that term, salvation. Matter of fact, before we even go there, let's go here. Let's go here. Because I'll get right to it. You might want to warm up a little bit. Let me let you warm up a little bit. Salvation. Let me tell you what they declare salvation to be. See, it's salvation. One, before we go to the etymon, we're going to see it say preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. This is what they call salvation from sin. All right? A source or means of being saved from harm, ruin, or loss. This is salvation. Now, in theology, talking about God, in relation to God, this is theology. Deliverance from sin and its consequences, believed by Christians to be brought about by faith in Christ. So when most people hear salvation, they hear the definition number 2. A deliverance from sin and sin's consequences. And now, in origin and etymon, we see salvation means to save. To save. So soteria or soteriology is another word. To save is the main point of my pointing out. So keep in mind, we think salvation means to save us from sin, which we associate, if you are a Christian, not myself, but just as public, we have heard this word and we associate ourselves with certain words. And salvation, to be saved, is something that the public know about. And when it comes to being saved, people grab on this word, the Christ. So now you see why that Christ and deliverance from sin has something to do with it. So Christ is supposed to deliver one from sin. And see, this is non-canon, meaning this is not canon law. This is just sociological language. So now we're going to go to the canon. Matter of fact, yeah, because we've seen the etymon, it said to save. So no more wasting time. We on it now. So if you want to get right to it, just go to the 5-minute mark. Now, Article 108, salvation from the canon, which is the law. From canon 4181, salvation. Salvation is the dogma. Salvation is the dogma and concept. So before we go any further, do y'all know what dogma is? That's the word I was bringing in on the other video about doxa and opinions. Let's go dogma so you see it for yourself. An opinion. You see? An opinion, a tenet, something of belief, to think. Not to know, but to think. And so a dogma is a belief and concept. First introduced. Oh, so it's not even original to nature. It was introduced by the Roman cult. We all know who the Roman cult is. In the 16th century, that's European. First introduced by the European cult, the Roman cult in the 16th century, that as this is what the Europeans of the 16th century said. As all people, not themselves, they say all people are born with original sin. All people are born. That all people, not some, not them, all people are born with original sin and therefore lost. Wow. Did that get understood? So this is telling you that Christ is a dogma and concept that was created for all people that are born with and agree with the original sin and say, and therefore are lost. And then they had the nerve to say, God has granted the Roman cult the exclusive right to savage the souls through the sacraments of baptism and penance. Baptism and penance. Hence, salvation is the lawful receipt of goods and payment to the Roman cult for the savage and recovery of lost property. In the case of baptism, it is also known as the salvation of treasure. Wow. This does not even exist in nature. This was introduced by a group of men in the 16th century to give them exclusive right, claimed by the Roman cult to say it was from God. It's time to wake up, because these videos finna get very, very beautiful. Because as you free yourself, you should become more and more beautiful to your natural way of who you are. And man, it just all coming to the taste of the time. I'm tasting the time right now. I mean, I had to do this once the revelation came. I had to do this video, bring it to the public for public awareness. And so you can be informed if you're gonna still carry out the same actions. Never investigate your beliefs and just keep thinking from your own understanding when truth and knowledge is provided for you to have clarity of understanding. So salvation is not a good word in the sense of Christianity. And Roman and Christianity has been problematic for generations, pushing dogmas, false ideals, and systems of belief as worship and worshipable. And these things are not even a part of nature, nor a part of divine law. And so nature law and divine law are both in Islam, but I have not seen it in Christianity verbatimly. I have not seen it in words verbatimly. The words natural law and the words divine law. These things are not in a theological text, such as the Bible, which gives them ecclesiastical office. And so to understand that Christianity is a branch of Judaism. So Christians and Judeans both practice Judaism. And Judaism is an intelligence designed to corrupt and stolen from Islamism. Islamism with the ISM is the only reality that exists, that ever existed, and that will only exist. Buddha practiced Islamism. Your Greek philosophers practiced Islamism, from Socrates to Plato to pre-Socratic to Platonic philosophers. These people practice Islamism down to the Essenes, down to the ancient, you would say Gnostics, but that's not the right word. The right word would be Platonics. But we have to understand even Indian philosophy is Islamism. Brahmayana, all these things that we are calling religion all comes out of Islamism. And Islamism is so old, it does not have a birth record. We have tons of data of people practicing Islamism longer than people been on earth. And Islamism was a system of the, put it this way, if you ever heard of the Golden Age, the Golden Age was a whole system that was the system of Islamism. In that Golden Age period, did we know not a such thing as poor existed, nor such thing as rich existed? Every person, all people were equal. All were born equal. So all had access to equality. While the system we born in today is based in inequality. And this is why you either born poor and you gotta work your way to the side of rich, but as you see, you never get there because you wasn't born. from that line of Europeans. So there's now we're gonna continue back on the video and the Sufa, but I have to bring this into for myself because these are grand things that have been not only with myself but with the people. The people have been poor for a long time, and myself included, in the sense of just financial poverty. We work and we work, but we never have enough. We don't work one job. We don't had 2 jobs at a time, 3 jobs at a time, and it's still not enough. And you got to come to your reasoning and say, it's not me. That it's the system. The system demands that you pay for things that have no value. And the things that have value are priced even higher than things with no value. And so through this inequality-based system called Christianity or European Western law, we have not been able to rise above black poverty. And I could bring in a lot of things such as the Christian black laws, but a lot of Moors have already uncovered all those scenarios. So I'm doing things that have not been uncovered. So we can have a full story of what all happened. And so as this is reading to us, we seeing this happen through the Roman code. And this was as far as 16th century. And the universe is older than 16th century, right? I hope y'all would say yes. So this is not natural to nature, nor is this divine. And then this concept is a dogma, and the dogma is an opinion. So this is not even a absolute truth. And it's actually the opposite. Opposite. It's trash. Salvation in the form of European salvation for a black man and black woman is foolish. We see why. God, I would never get over this right here. God has granted the Roman court the exclusive right to savage the souls, to give souls lies and beliefs, and tell these souls that you need salvation, and you're going to get salvation through belief and lies, known as salvation. And we're going to baptize you in these lies in the name of Christ, because he died for your sins. Wow. We got to really evaluate the reasoning. And would a good God even think about a thought so horrible and harmful? As we read, the rescue from harm, injury, loss. They flipped the script on us. We was already had Islam. So we was already in Islamism. We maybe didn't have Islam, but we had Islamism, which is in our hearts. It always been in our hearts. And it's not until the 7th century until we get Islam to know that we've been practicing Islamism the whole time. And Islamism is a way of life. It's not a religion. Christianity is a religion, and you see what this does. It has you believing you in sin, believing you lost, and believing you need to be saved and salvaged as a soul. Then it says, hence, as we read along, hence salvation is the lawful receipt of goods and payments. Salvation is the lawful receipt of goods and payments to the Roman court for the salvage and recovery of lost property. So salvation is money of goods and payment to the Roman court for saving the soul in the case of baptism. Oh man. Canon 4182. The word salvation is derived from a 16th century created word from the Latin root being salvis, meaning to make safe and secure possession without violating the law. Wow. So you telling me that they created a fake law so they cannot violate the natural law and divine law? And if we agree to this law, then by agreement, we wouldn't be violating natural and divine law because we agreed to follow this law of salvation. Hence, the salvation of the soul is the claimed securing possession of property without violating divine law. I just said it. That's what they're saying. They saying if you say salvation of the soul, this is a claim securing possession of property. Property. Now they calling the soul a property that is secured by possession without violating divine law. And this is called the law of salvation. Falsehood at its finest. Who else is really bringing souls into a salvation? This releases one from the filth of lies. I almost cannot finish this, but I got to finish it for the sake of the video. Oh, man. Islamism would not have you doing any of this right here. I feel down just by reading it, so I got to get done with this. Canon 4183. The word treasure comes from 4 Latin words, Latin roots. 4 Latin roots created treasure. Let's get it. Was created in the 16th century by the Jesuits. Oh man, now we got the treasury of the state, the treasury of the United States. Oh man. In the 16th century by the Jesuits to describe the ritual of salvaging souls. It is derived from tree, meaning 3 or trinity, as meaning bronze coin, usually ceremonial. I got visions playing out in my head like sports, the coin toss. Su, meaning at the foot of, under, sub, foot of, under, beneath, close to, or during, and ray, treasury. Re meaning property. Hence, the literal meaning of treasure is 3 bronze or silver ceremonial coin. Come on, man. Is that not Judas? I gotta pull that up. Is that not Judas? If y'all don't know that, I read the scholarship of this stuff. Is that not Judas? Watch this. Judas in coins. We just gonna put Judas in coins, KJV. I just know. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, Wait, what will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? Oh, there you go. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him. There you go. Proof in the pudding. I can't make this stuff up. This come from deep, deep soul searching. 3 bronze coins. Did they not just give him bronze or silver? It said it right there. 3 bronze or silver coins placed under or near the property. We're just talking about, man. This is the literal ritual of salvaging souls as first described in reference to the Egyptian Book of the Dead and the payment of the ferryman of souls with 3 coins for safe passage. Wow. The 3 coins represent the mind, the spirit, and the body. And so, wow. They have put the people in a Solomon's, what they call it? Solomon's ring. Canon 4184. Salvation is deliberately and falsely compared to the concept of redemption, whereby a person is capable of reforming previous behavior or character. Wow. So the true law is not salvation, but the true law is redemption. Wow. And that word is in Islamism, redemption. Man must redeem himself. Wow. Instead, salvation, this is the difference between salvation and redemption. And remember, my spirits are down right now just reading this because it's so low and it's so slow and it's so sad that our people that have been deceased died under this, and then the people that's still living probably won't even get to hear this or will not even believe even showing the factual evidence, and so they have to suffer, after death, afterlife. Wow. So instead, salvation depends upon the promotion of the concept of original sin. While salvation, opposite of redemption, is the promotion of the concept and dogma of original sin. And salvation is a commercial claim of right dressed up as a religious dogma. Wow. Did salvation just turn into a UCC process? Salvation is a UCC process. UCC is universal commercial claims. They say codes, but claims. UCC is not a part of Islamism. UCC is a part of salvation, and salvation is a part of the Roman code, aka the dirty Moors, aka the dirty Europeans. Wow, I gotta finish this up. This is getting very low. Dressed up as a religious dogma. So church and state thrives together through this concept of salvation. Salvation belongs to the church. State is the commercial claim. of right, state property. Wow. Canon 4185, the receipt of goods and payment received by the Roman court for savaging souls under the dogma of salvation is the right to control the monetization. Oh man, the money. There you go, literally. There go the word money right there. The money is the monetization of sin, which is the essential concept of underpinning debt, and almost all money systems of the world today. Divine insight says that, divine revelation says that to have millions and billions of dollars is to say that you are responsible for sin. The more money you have, the more of a sinner you are. To have a lot of money is equivalent to having a lot of sin. This is the concept upholding the whole money system as debt, and all money systems of the world today is religious dogma of salvation. Man, we done. Us three more. We done with religion. So all people who getting paid high salaries for sports, to rappers, to getting this much money for a show, to high paid. I mean, from your black high paid people to your white high paid people. This document proves that these people are sinners and that you cannot get monetization without salvation. Wow, that's some deep. Let me finish on. Under the creation, Canon 4186, under the creation of the Sesti QV Trust of 1540, please note that's the Social Security accounts and all the bonds attached to it. The Roman code has since franchised out the salvaging of souls to several Protestant churches through salvation, so that the biggest promoters of salvage through salvation are now evangelical and new churches apart from the traditional Christian churches. Wow, man, church and state, both playing religious games on all the people with their life. Canon 4187. The ritual of salvaging of souls is continued in many Roman-controlled societies today with the absurd and extremely dangerous practice of placing silver nitrate solution in the eyes of the baby and a drop on the lips in the honor of 3 coins in the true meaning of treasure prior to the paperwork of a new baby being processed to create a new slave bond. Wow. Birth certificate and on up is all illusion, all fake, all fiction, not even real. The good thing about it, once you find it ain't real, now you can redeem yourself by reforming your behavior. What it said, reforming previous behavior or character. Canon 4188, as the dogma of salvation is deliberately false. There you go. Even to the followers of the Roman cult, as well as being founded upon fraudulent claims. It is forbidden and denounced and not permitted to be revived. Thank you. We will not use that word salvation in the sense of you salvating your soul. In the true word of salvation, that word is redemption. The slave word of redemption is salvation. So this is your money in a nutshell. This is your business model in a nutshell of the United States and the states of the Union. They have all agreed to use church and state. And churches is all over the state. And many churches in many states. And now we see why people such as entertainers are paid high volumes of money in order to entertain us and distract us from finding this knowledge of self. This is why KOS exists, so you and I and all can understand self. To become wise so we make better decisions and a better future for our children, born and yet unborn. With this Sufa, we return to Islamism and Islam. As-salam, salam, shalom.